So I think we're good. Yeah, it's recording it. We got no viewers right now. That's okay. So let's give it another minute. I got nobody to really message because there's nobody I know is up right now. So
Well, supposedly Vlad was supposed to be in. He said he would watch, so I'll
I
just
could,
send it.
I should have thought about it. I could have added him actually if you wanted to, but I didn't even think about it. I'm sorry.
That's
I've been
okay.
so
Don't worry about it.
busy. But yeah.
But it'll be
So
recorded and it will just be. It'll show up.
more people watch it after the fact, anyways.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
absolutely.
what I've been having fun with. I've been having a great time doing this channel. I've been doing it honestly for what 3 or 4 years now, and just since I've been sick, I've been able to do more content. So, and I'm actually going to expand a little bit because I've been doing some miniatures, a little bit of miniatures. I call it dabbling in miniatures because I'm mainly a hex encounter war gamer. So,
Sure.
well, it's 2 a.m. Um, like I said, I got nobody to bump, but that's okay. So, so welcome, John, to Ruggieros Corner, and
Thank you, Mark. Glad to be
super,
here.
super happy to have you here. You're pretty well known around as a war gamer, and
I think notorious is the word that you're looking for, not
Notori.
just.
I like it. Yeah, what do you
Yeah.
call yourself? I forgot the El Supremo.
El Supremo. That's right.
Yeah,
It's
I
a
like
little.
that.
It's a kind of a little nickname I gave myself.
How did
In
how
our
did
in
that?
our
Is there a story behind it, or?
Not really. There was a time, I guess, when I was. This is from the Philippine board gamers, the war gamers group we have,
Yeah.
and I guess I was de facto leader or president or whatever. I we don't have a formal club or anything, but I just decided that I was going to take over. I was going to be like this military junta kind of person, and then of course, if you're in a junta, you have to have like this really cool name, right? Like so I said, then El Supremo came up, and I said, oh, El Supremo, and I said, you have to have it. I would say, well, you have to call it El Supremo, and then whenever you write it out, it has to be all in capital letters and all that kind of stuff. And it caught on. I don't know. I think it caught on, and enough people call me that. It's just silliness.
I
It's just
love it.
fun.
I love it.
Yeah. Thank
I
you.
noticed. Yeah, I know it's kind of the good part of wargaming. So I'm going to ask you a question here. So just so you know, I don't know if you can see the chats if you got it
Yeah,
up.
I can see it. I just came up here.
So okay, we got two people. So we got Rob from Canada. Hi,
Right.
Rob, and we got Vlad from. Is Vlad from your area or
Yes.
where?
Yeah.
Okay.
Vlad is here in Manila.
All
And I
right.
know Rob as
Welcome.
well. Rob is the good guy. He's up in Canada.
Yeah, Rob's
And
great. I met
yeah.
Rob in Pacificon actually, and
Hmm.
it was kind of a tragic year. He lost his friend that year. I forget Rob, and I don't.
Mm.
Sorry, Rob. I'm not trying to, but thank you for being here. I appreciate you guys. So why don't you tell us? Oh, Gringo sold. I was talking to
Okay.
him about maybe buying his Gringo. I'm glad it's sold though, because I've got so many to sell. But
Yeah.
thanks for letting me know, Rob. So, John, why don't you tell us? So, I always got to ask, and it's kind of like the great
Standard.
question of
How did you get
how
into
did you
wargaming?
start? How did you get started? What?
Yeah.
Yeah, like what's your story on that?
Okay. Well, I like everyone else when I was a kid, somebody gave me a gift. I think it was for my godparents. It was Broadside from American Heritage. If you don't remember that game, Broadside
Oh yeah,
Dogfight.
of course. Yeah.
And even before that, somebody was playing Feudal from 3M, which eventually Avalon Hill took over.
Right.
And there was four of us who were playing, myself, my cousin, three of my cousins, and eventually that then somebody had a one of our relatives had a copy of 1776, and that was it. And off we were flying, 1776, and we got into that, and that turned into Avalon Hill, that turned into Blitzkrieg, that turned into the Midway, that turned into Africa Corps, Third Reich.
Well,
Um,
you'll you'll no you so you'll get a kick out of this. I do want to say this so the people so Rob and Vlad, you guys can put in the comments how you got started if you want. One way you can participate, and I try to get. Oh, we got three people on now, so somebody else needs to ID themselves, if you will.
okay.
Well, what I wanted to say was, and I'm not going to bore because I've told my story a million times, but I was going to say this. You'll get a kick out of this because I know your work involves helping get kids into college and stuff.
Hmm.
My second game after Tactics 2, when I was 10 years old, was Third Reich. And that was like
Oh wow.
going from freaking elementary school to college. And I was
Right.
like, I had a
Even cur-
ball with it. I don't think I played it right for like
of
5
course,
years,
of course. Even broadside, I remember we didn't
but,
play it right. You know,
but
it's a little bit like walking through a wading pool, and all of a sudden it's like whoop, something like that, and suddenly
I
you're
think
underwater. Yeah.
I think one of the great things with wargaming that, and I can tell I'm getting older, right, is the fact that I don't know that it's a big amount, but I notice online and stuff, there is younger people, and they'll be like, "What's Avalon Hill?" And I'm
Yeah.
like, "Oh my god,"
Right.
But
Okay.
hey, you
Yeah.
know what? That's
Yeah.
great.
That's
So
yeah.
yeah, go ahead. No, go
I
ahead.
know. Actually, I was going to say that we actually have some gamers here in Manila now that are I'm playing and where it's with, and they're like high school seniors, and we're growing the hobby. One of my buddies, one of my gaming buddies, we play pretty often, and then his son started to play, and his son kind of like brought people in from his classmates, and so there are 3 or 4 of them from the high school that. So we played Virgin Queen like 2 weeks ago, like a
Right.
week ago, 2 weeks ago, and so and they were good,
Yeah,
and they whipped our butts, they whipped our old butts,
I think I
and
saw your pictures you posted
yes,
about that,
yes, that's right. I
right?
did post some
Yeah.
pictures because I'm very happy that there's a young people who are really interested in playing, and that's a good thing. It's not just us old fogies, And I told them, and I told them one of them, there is this thing called WBC where you come in for a whole week and that's all you do. And they were like,
Uh,
"Wow!" And I said, "Well, if I go, and if it's in Pittsburgh, it's in Pennsylvania, and if I'm there for any year, and you happen to be, go, I'll share a room with you, no problem, just to cut down on expenses, that sort of thing." So,
right.
and the
No,
kid was
that
like, "Oh, that's interesting." Blah blah blah. I have to ask my parents, though. It's like, I guess I have to ask the parents.
right. Well, you would, I
Yeah,
would imagine. So it's funny. I'm
yeah, yeah.
looking at the comments. So Rob's talking about he started when he was 9. Your
Oh
friend
yeah.
Greg Schultz, right? I gotta say that's pretty. Well, I was 10, so but yeah, it's right in there. And then
Hmm.
Vlad says 2006. I think what's interesting about your story is we had a third viewer that jumped off. Oh well, but anyways, you talk about the kids, and I think that's great that you welcome
Hmm.
them because I know when I was 14, 15 years old in the town I was growing up, and by that time I had a few friends that were playing, and I can remember my friends coming over, like I was in like 7th or maybe 8th grade, so I don't know what's that, you're 13, whatever,
Hmm.
and looking at my collection of 10 games, and we would spend like, oh shit, what are we gonna play,
Yeah.
right? And I look at, but here's the funny part, that's why I say it's funny. I do remember, like, and there obviously wasn't like internet back then, but like through things at the game store or the library or wherever it was, and they were like older adults, and they're like, "Oh, I'm not playing you, your kid,"
Mm. Yeah.
I was like, maybe by that time like 15, 16, and I've always been welcoming. I got like a monthly meetup, and I won't say we have any high school age kids, but we've had some younger people that, drop in, and I'd say they're kind of like casual war gamers now. Like they'll show
Mhm.
up once in a while, and
Sure.
they're not fanatical,
Oh,
like,
absolutely.
but that's great. I think that needs to be done more because like being
Hmm.
welcoming, and I know like Rob does his convention there in Canada, and but it's like we just need to be more like encompassing, right? And because like I always say enjoy your journey, and I just love gaming. I mean, I even when I used to, when I realized one thing that I realized getting sick was how much I used to work. I've realized I've never in my life had a 40-hour a week job. I've always worked 50, like literally, like I was a workaholic. But my point
Sure.
is, gaming was always a piece of my life, even if it was, when we were raising the boys, our two boys, or it was like my escape valve, right?
Hmm.
But yeah, I just it's so much fun and everything. But anyways, this is about you. So I did want to let me just well we lost anyways, I keep having somebody pop in and pop out. Anyways, not that important. They know that
Well,
they're going in. What?
well, we were. I was gonna say that there were four of us who were playing,
Yeah,
myself
so
and three of my cousins.
right.
And about 1983, when I started college, we sort of like all stopped playing for whatever reason. I guess it's because we all went our separate ways and so on. We just stopped playing.
Right.
And so I picked it up again in 2010 when I went to like it would have to be like a board gaming something meet in this place, and they said, hey, come over, it would be fun. So that's how I met Twilight Struggle and Labyrinth. And I
Uh-huh.
used to say, I used to play games like this, but it didn't have any hexes. It was all just cards and so on. And I found it fascinating. I thought, hey, this is great. A lot of it just kind of started clicking back. And that was 2010, and it's been whatever, 15 years. No, not quite 15 years, but getting there. And it's been, so I'm the only one of the four of us cousins. I'm the only one who came back to it. My other
Hmm.
my other cousins know that I'm playing again, and some of them have said, "Hey, all those old Avalon Hill games that we had?" And I said, "Yeah, I think they're still in my mother's basement." And okay, they're all moldy and stuff like that. I know
I would
my mother gave
imagine in the
my
Philippines, right? Yeah.
yeah, my mother gave mine away because they were sitting in her closet for like 30 years. And and all of a sudden she said, "Hey, he's not gonna want this," so he got rid
I
of them.
I think what's funny is being in California, I can always tell when I buy a game or something from the East Coast or something because,
It smells funny.
well, no, actually, the main thing is even if it doesn't have like a musty smell, the staples in the rule book will be rusted or, because in
Oh,
California, like
yeah,
literally, like I've stored games I have some games I've stored in my garage for years, in my garage.
sure,
And there's like no issues, like because
right,
the humidity here is just not
yeah.
as elevated, right, as some places. But um, so what?
I have that.
No, no. Go, I would
I
imagine, if you're inside there, you're fine, right?
Yeah,
Mostly.
I think. Well, I guess I haven't been in this long enough. I see this problem, but I can see it in some of the older games that I have in my collection. Like if I look
Right.
at my copy of Combat Commander, which I've had since from the beginning, maybe 2010 and 2011. If I look at the original rulebook that it has, it rusting around the staples. You got brown spots and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
But
it's funny. I'm
it
looking
is
at
what
the
it is.
comments, and Rob's talking about how he's never left the hobby, and a lot
Well,
of
good for
people really
him.
do.
Well, good for him.
No, and a lot of people do, right? But I'm in the same
Yeah.
boat. I never, even when I was in the military, flying a lot and not, I always at least bought games, right? Or I've
Hmm.
always had some connection. Like I never, and I get
Yeah.
it. I'm not, this is not a criticism at all of anybody that does, because hey, life happens, right?
You're
But
right.
it's
Hmm.
like, I've just always like, I don't know, you could call it my main drug, I guess, in life,
Right.
right? Like
Hmm.
the one
Hmm.
thing my brother Ron says, and we're really close, we talk every day, is he always says, he's like, Mark, I'm glad you're on our side, meaning, not, and I don't want to get into politics, but I used to be a
Hmm.
real big right winger. Now I'm like
Sure.
way
Yeah.
left, very left now.
Hmm.
And he says, he's like, I'm glad you're with us now because my whole life, whatever I've done, I've never done half-ass, right? Like
Right. Only
I'm like
all
all
it's
in.
full out. It's always been
It's
full
a,
ass. That's what
it's
I'm
a
saying.
good thing I never got into like heroin or something because I would have been all in, right? I know what a
Well,
horrible thing to say, but it's true. It's like it's just funny. I mean, I'm just saying everything that whether it's been work or whatever, even the inside joke among my close friends with being sick is, I used to never get sick. I say, oh, when I get sick someday, I'm going to do it right. Well, so I
yeah.
can
I
laugh about it. So, I'm trying to make light, but so why share with us like So we all have those great moments at the gaming table, like,
Sure.
and you know, what's some moments you've had at the game table, whether it's the gameplay or who you were playing or whatever it is that,
Oh,
like, you access that great data bank we have in our heads and say, "Wow, I can remember this." Like, and there was a great moment, like, "Oh, I made Rate
I
of Fire 9 million times in a row in an ASL
right.
game," or whatever it is. What's your like moment or couple?
My moment. There were a couple. There are a couple.
Yeah, well,
There are a
share them
couple.
both. Yeah,
Sure. One of them was fairly recent. It was have to be at the recent WBC, which was just since last July, and I was playing John Company with, among other people, Alex Klein, who is Alexander Klein. Excuse me, not Alex. Alexander Klein, who is the player's aide. And there was a bunch of us playing, and I remember that we were teasing Alexander because he rolled so badly. He was rolling
uh,
so badly, and finally he put in a lot of effort to try to get a lot of dice, so he couldn't possibly roll badly. I think the odds of him not getting a hit was like one in, like, five, like 95% he was going to get a hit or something.
right.
And we were like all waiting for him. He rolled all the dice, and sure enough, he didn't get a hit. Now the funny thing about that was is that suddenly he just got up. We all were laughing. He got up, he ran into the room, went into the stairwell, and screamed. And we were all laughing. We weren't down on him or anything like that, but it was just that. It's like,
Well,
and he took it very, very well. Obviously, we were all teasing him about it, but when he got back, it was like, can't believe I screwed that up. So it happens. And
right.
so always like that. Things are like, oh, I rolled so badly, or I can't seem to roll, save my
Does he
life.
really? Does he traditionally really roll badly, or is it
I,
more of the
I haven't
gamer
played with him often enough to
enough?
be able to tell you. He seems to be, of reasonable luck. I guess it's just that day that he wasn't doing it. And the funny thing, my second thing was a little bit proud or moment in my life was when I finally finished an entire session, an entire campaign of Empire of the Sun. And when I finally finished and I won, and I was like, okay, if when I die, I want to put that on my tombstone. Finished Empire of the Sun. That means he was able to learn it, and he was able to play it, and he was able to finish it all the way to the end. It's like, if I that would be me if I was like got into World of War and I was able to finish the whole thing, and I was like, okay, I can put that in my epitaph. I'm happy. I can die now, as it were.
Yeah,
But
there. Right. The, so that sorry, that's a great segue because one thing I do want to make sure I mention so when who's watching now will know, and then people that watch it in the future, you've done some, and I wish I knew how to like add a link or something because I don't, but at least right now, might be able to add it later. What is your? I know you've done like how to play Empire of the Sun,
yep.
which is I love Mark Herman. If he designs a game, it's an auto buy for me.
Hmm.
And I've played Empire of the Sun. It's been quite a while, but I know
Actually,
you've
it's been a
done
while
some
since I
videos.
played
So
too.
how would people without the link? And hopefully, what I'll be able to do is later on find
Just
it and add it. And
Yeah, just search on my name because my channel name is my name.
it's
So
John Sy.
John C. Actually, John.
See, oh, sorry, I
Yeah,
always
it's
pronounce
okay.
it
It's okay.
Sy.
It's okay.
Okay.
So it's John C. You look it up, and you'll find the channel. You'll find,
So
you know.
John SY, is it one letter or one word in
No, no,
your
no.
channel?
My
So
last name is C, and my first name is John. It's that
okay,
simple.
perfect. Oh, that's easy.
So what I did was I did that video. Actually, it's a set of about 40 videos.
Yeah, I watched him a
Um,
while back. I mean, it's been a
yeah,
while, but I remember watching
because
him.
I thought to myself, there were a lot of Empire of the Sun videos out there, and I especially enjoyed John Steidel's videos. Mark Herman's was also quite nice. But the thing was is that I thought John Steidel's videos were very good, but I also felt that you had to already kind of know the game to be able to completely appreciate what he's doing. There was not enough. There was nobody doing what I would call the instructional AAR, because I'm a teacher by trade.
Okay.
So I always thought that just teaching somebody the rules and just playing. blah 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 going on about the rules. The worst way you can do this. It's like the
All
worst
right. Yeah.
because everybody's like pretty soon everybody's gonna conk out.
Yeah.
And so I what I thought about doing was I will actually play a game or actually will show you a game that I played on Vassal. And as I go, I will teach you the rules. That's why there's context behind what I'm trying to talk about,
Yeah.
you
No,
know?
that's a great point. Let me just really quick. So we got a third viewer. So if you want to ID yourself in the comments, that would be great. We have Rob from Canada and Vlad from the Philippines with us. So whoever the third viewer that's watching right now, if you want to comment, that's fine. ID
The third
yourself.
viewer. Yeah.
Yeah. Your point about teaching though is really well taken because I didn't
Yeah.
do that. So it's I have played a lot of GMT World at War, and
Yeah.
I haven't played probably in the last couple months because I've been doing some other stuff.
Yeah.
But um, one of the things I did that I'm pretty proud of is I looked at the game, and of course Bruce Harper now has done a whole series of videos on how to play, which are really great. I actually went online and I said, "Hey, if you want to learn the game, I'm ready to play on War Planner." So I'm proud. I'm proud to say I have taught 12 people
Good for you.
how to play World at War, which is a fairly complex game. And how I did it, I said, "Okay, I want you to read the rules. I want you to buy a copy of the game because that showed a commitment. Because you know how
Hmm.
flaky gamers can be. It's like herding cats sometimes,
All right.
right?" And then I got them in a game on War Planner, which is a dedicated program for
Hmm.
World at War, which is well worth it. It used to be free. Now you get like 6 months for free, and then it's like $2 a month or something. And I got to say, Chris Goldfarb, who created the program and it's constantly updated, like used to host it on a server for years out of his own pocket. So
Okay.
I myself went and gladly said, because he does the thing where it's like it's $100 and you get lifetime access. So I was like, here you
Here's
go,
a hundred bucks.
right,
Right.
and done with it. But you get like 6 months for free. But anyways, I'm happy to say like 10 of those people are still playing.
Good.
Six of them have gone to WBC now
And played.
and
Yeah.
played.
You're always up in the that
Yeah, we're up
room.
in the wind. The I forgot
The
what they call it. The
winterberry or some
winter.
winterberry.
Yeah, they. I like to say they
Yeah.
stick us up in the war game corner because
Yeah,
up
they yeah
here
they.
there's
I always like to say that they're ashamed of us, and like that uncle who gets drunk during
yeah,
Thanksgiving. You don't really want to, so you put him in
yeah,
the corner. So we're all
that's
up there in
right.
the corner up there. So yeah, World of
Yeah,
War is up there, along with I think this year Battles of the American Revolution was up there too.
yeah, and
Yeah,
there's usually a couple other monster games, and
yeah,
like I didn't go this year for obvious
no,
reasons,
yeah.
but last
We
year,
missed you.
yeah, well, I missed being there, and
Yeah,
I am feeling better. I got rid of my bile drain. I had
yeah.
a bag
I
hanging
heard.
out
So
of
you're
my
back to
spine.
showering again, which is good.
Yeah,
I'm
that
glad.
was after 10 months of sink baths. It was amazing. So, um, but what I was going to say was, knock on wood, we'll see. I'm hoping, and I don't know if it's going to happen, but I'm definitely, if I'm able, I am going to Consume Expo again to play my Death
Okay.
Ride
Yeah.
Normandy, right?
Right.
But I'm
Right.
actually trying
That's
to
another one I like.
see that ends right when WBC starts. So I'm gonna see what I might if I'm able, and I mean there's a lot of variables, but
Yeah.
if I'm able, I'm gonna go to Consume Expo and then I'm gonna immediately go to WBC. Now whether I'll play World at War will be interesting because the
Yeah.
people I play with are like, "We can come play at our town." I'm like, well, maybe this time I'll go and just do some open gaming. But
Yeah.
reality is if I go, I'll probably play World at War.
Of course.
Uh, but there is that attraction there too of there's tons of wargaming in the open gaming.
Right.
There's tons of tournaments, and I will I just want to say this and I see if you agree because you've been how many times have you been to WBC now? Twice, okay.
Twice.
And I know I met you there the one year
Yes. So
you went.
yeah, we went in 2019. That was the year that Richard Berg
Yeah,
died. Yeah.
yeah, and I will say what I held back from going to WBC for a lot of years because of quote unquote, I'm not a competitor. Like I like to play.
Yeah.
I mean, I like to win like everybody else, but it's not the most like it's far from where I study a game and just, like I'll play in tournaments just to play. You know.
Yeah, I'm more of a guy who likes to really get into a game so that I get all the yumminess, as it were.
Yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
that's
And Rob, I'm sorry, but Rob here is basically saying that he was for several years he was Mr. Combat Commander. I'd go to conventions to teach people how to play Combat Commander. I'm actually a big Combat Commander player now because of the ladder. There's a online vassal ladder. It's not really competitive, although of course it's a ladder, so it's competitive, but it's not. It's very friendly, very informal. So Rob, if you don't
right.
know about that ladder, let me know and I'll tell you where to go. And then we play once a month, and then we cycle through all the battle packs, cycle through all the box sets. So this month is Combat Commander Resistance, and next month I think is Fall of the West. Yeah, Fall of the West and Sea Lion, the leader. Man, I actually have the schedule on my taped to my desk. That's how pathetic I am. So yeah, so if you want Rob, I can hook you up. It's a great it's a great way to play Combat Commander fairly, regularly. And so yeah. So there is actually a Combat Commander only convention that's coming up in February in DC, in Washington DC. And I always want to do that, but somehow the idea of going out in DC in February, something about it just doesn't um, you know. But anyway, so yeah, Vlad, a memorable moment, a 5 hour game of Twilight Struggle with my wife that ended in a draw. Good deal for you, Vlad, that you got
He
Dottie to
got his
play with
wife
you.
to play. That's what I'm
I know
wondering.
that for
I'm
me,
like,
and
sheesh.
Dottie is a sweet lady. I've met his wife, Dottie. She's a sweet lady, and they have beautiful children. I just can't see her sneak down to a 5 hour game. But if she did, God bless her. I mean, she's
My
obviously a better person than.
my wife, and well, most people know she's
Yeah.
Filipina, and she's always been good about my gaming because I've never
Hmm.
hidden it. Like even way
Yeah.
back when we were
Right.
dating, it
Yeah.
was like, this is what I do, okay.
Yeah. Okay.
But she don't get it, but
Yeah.
she's
Well,
good
my
about it.
yeah, my wife has been more like, and then I said, no, this is my vice. I have my games right here, right beside me, and I said, well, this is my vice. It could be this, and I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't chase women, I don't gamble. So, but this is my vice. So it's either
Right.
that or that other stuff. And she was like, okay, well, fine, do this because it's a lot less harmful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I
So
can't
it's
say that. I used to be how do I say it? Just to be honest, I was a pretty heavy drinker.
oh, okay.
Never where it impacted. Like, I mean, I always went to work, and like it didn't.
You were not a blackout drunk.
No, I've never blacked out in my life,
Uh-huh.
but
All right.
but I will admit I was never the guy that like, hey, we're gonna go get a beer. Oh, a beer, okay.
Hmm.
And about 5 beers later, I'd have a nice little buzz going, and hey, I love
Hmm.
everybody, and
Yeah.
but yeah, there's a lot worse things we could do with our money, right?
Yeah.
Like my wife's Filipina now. I don't want to say in general, but I've been married. In fact, our 37th wedding anniversary. We're going
There
out
you
actually
go.
later tonight. We've been together 40 years, but our 37th anniversary is technically Friday, but I planned a game Friday, so anyways, we're going out
Yeah.
tonight. So,
Yeah. All right.
but
Well,
long
I've been
story short,
30.
she
Oh,
likes.
it's
No, go ahead.
Binosa. Robert Binosa just came in. He's
Hey,
another
hey,
guy from the
Oh,
Philippines.
hey, Robert.
Binosa. Yeah.
Yeah, if I know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say my wife likes to gamble. That's her.
Ah. Okay.
I
No,
think it's
each
the
his own.
Asian thing.
It's what is it? Slots? Is it slots?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, she
Yeah. They
loves the
usually go for
slots.
slots.
She's actually a really good blackjack player,
There you
but
go.
she just plays this like if I'll go with her,
Mm-hmm.
like I go maybe twice a year, but like when her and her friends get together and they're like, "Yeah, we might go to the casino." I'm like, "You might? Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Here's some money, whatever."
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's her thing. So it's like, okay, as
Rob
long
makes
as
Rob here made a comment that he always used to play with his friend Rick White, Combat Commander,
yeah.
but he hasn't played since 2016 when Rick died. Similar experience for me as well. I had one of my very good friends. His name is Steve McCallum. He's an American teacher here, and he passed away very suddenly around July 4th, around that time of July 4th. He and I used to play Undaunted and Undaunted Stalingrad, Undaunted Normandy, that sort of thing. So he and I used to play a lot together. So I actually bought a copy of Undaunted Stalingrad. So he would play. So he only played it once, and then he passed away. And so I can't bring myself to play Undaunted anymore
Okay,
because it just brings back,
let me
So I'm trying to get rid of trying to sell
I
that
mean,
game
no,
actually.
no, look, no, it's okay. That's what this is
Yeah.
about too, right? Part of our journey is who we lost. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
I had uh, uh, this is terrible. I'm drawing a total blank. I had a really good friend, and now I'm
It's
drawing
okay.
a total blank. But he passed away in 1994, and I'll remember his name. God,
Hmm.
this is terrible. I can't remember his fucking name right now. And it's like I got his picture in my game room.
Oh, okay.
But we used to play a lot of games. He got leukemia. He was older than me. He was about 15 years older than me. Got leukemia, blah, 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 and ended up passing away.
I'm still in.
And then my only thing that I'll say is there's games that me and him played a lot of that I will not sell. Like
Oh, okay.
they will be buried with
I hear
me,
you.
burned
I
with
hear
me.
you.
But here's the one thing, and I went through kind of what you guys are like didn't play. And I've actually now make a point, even if it's solitaire, where I just pull it out and set it up and run through a few turns but it's almost been, and it took me a couple years to get there, but
Hey, Ken.
it's almost like therapeutic. Like I play it in memory of
Sure.
him. And, because he was a great friend. We played for years together, and oh my God, like Hayes is his last name, and I'm trying to fucking what? God damn it! I like literally we'll get off, and I
It's
got to tell you,
okay.
this chemo brain thing is really real sometimes,
No.
and it might be age too. I don't know, but
Yeah, I had
uh,
similar also with you with just not just Steve, but I had another very good friend who passed away from COVID.
oh
His name
wow,
is
yeah.
Ariel, and he's a good guy. Just the nice person you will ever meet.
I remember
And
you posting about that.
he and I were planning all this time to play fighting formations, and we never got around to doing it because it was like, oh, he was always working, right? He was always working on Saturdays, so we'd never get around to doing it. But he and I were always saying, oh, we got to go get together and learn and play fighting formation. And then so we never got to do it. He passed away, and we never got to do it. And then he and I sort of got together. And eventually, I learned fighting formations. And then, hey, it's a great game, And I'm so sorry that I never got to play with him. So it was just one of those things.
You,
Is Ken X? Are you Ken T? No, are you? Is just Ken
it's
T?
not Ken T. I don't think, because Ken X. And I could be wrong. I think he's the guy that bought a cop. And I apologize, Ken, if you're not the person. I sold somebody that comments a lot on my YouTube stuff, and I sold them a copy of Anzio a while back. But
No, the
from
funny thing
Hong
about
Kong. Okay.
okay, the funny thing about Ken T and I, is that Ken T and I both went to the same high school here in the Philippines because he's from the Philippines.
Oh, I
So
didn't
yep,
know
he well, it
that. I
was
know
yeah.
Ken. I didn't know that. Yeah. Yeah.
So he and I actually we knew each other from high school. We didn't hang out. We were not in different social circles. I had no idea it was the war game. He had no idea it was the war game. But anyway, the
Yeah.
thing is that many years hence, but my first time at Concept World Expo, this is 2012. He comes up to me and taps me on the shoulder and said, "Are you John C?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "I'm Ken T." And I'm looking at him going, "Who the hell is Ken T?" And and it took me maybe about two or 3 seconds to realize he was Kenneth T. He went by Kenneth when you were in high school. So the Ken T didn't work, but the Kenneth T worked. So
Right.
all of a sudden I remember that. I said, "Oh my god!" It was so funny because people around us were laughing because he and I. What were the chances that two people hadn't seen each other in 16, however many years from high school, would run into 25 years after high school, would run into each other at a convention in Arizona, and it turns out that
No,
he's a
that's
war. They
funny.
were both war. Yeah,
Now
things like
Ken's been
that.
really, really great. Like I always see him at the GMT West, and we're trying to figure out how we can play because I've always wanted to play from the Wargamer. There's a game called Okinawa, and I've
Oh.
always wanted to play it. And I noticed at Consum Expo when I was there this year, of course, I was playing my Death Ride. We were play testing Death Ride Utah Beach, and but I would notice the stuff he was playing. He has like war gamers out. He played a
Mhm.
few of them. Like he played. There was one on the Falklands, and there was one. And I said, man, I've always wanted to play Okinawa. So now he's like emailing me, like, okay, Mark, we got to figure out how we're going to play Okinawa. And it's actually a fairly highly rated war game that was in. I forgot. I want to say it was the 3W years. So believe it or not, it turned out okay. But it's actually a fairly highly rated game on Okinawa, and there's not a lot of games on Okinawa, right? So,
Yeah, I was gonna say that Okinawa. There doesn't seem to be like any games on Okinawa that come out. From GMT or from Compass or any of those
right, no, they're all the
big
weird,
publishers. Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, I've
yeah.
always wondered why that is.
You
Um,
have the old SPI quad, the Island War quad has an Okinawa game in it,
I was
and
going to just address Rob here. He was saying, John, the
yeah,
GBABCW games I sold you came from Rick's collection. And if you don't mind, I'm just going to do this for Rob real quick.
yeah,
I'm going to take
please, no,
this and I'm
absolutely,
just going to turn that a little bit this way and see if I can find it.
so
Oops,
organized.
oops. Yeah, I know. There's that Rob. If you can see this by the door there, there are like all these blue games and the stacked
Oh,
horizontally.
I can see
Yeah,
him.
so
Yeah,
those are Rick's. Those That's the GBACW games that you sold me. Okay. So
I love
anyway,
how
so
you.
there's all that.
It's
It goes up, goes over, and goes down. So that's just the craziness. That's the craziness of the game
don't
collection right
worry. Even
there.
with from so that's great. It's what's funny for me is because behind me you can just see like literally like a few games and
Yeah. Yeah. There's
seeing
like,
how well organized yours is. Even with all the games
oh,
I've sold recently, like my collection is just it's so freaking massive. I've got like another
right.
room full of fucking sorry, pardon my French,
No.
that I got to go through, but. I tell you, so talking about game collections, or not talking about, but kind of a cool lead in. So I got to tell you, people have told me, Mark, I cannot believe like you have so many freaking games. Well, let me tell you something.
Hmm.
At the height, I had maybe my height. At some point, and I never thought of myself as a collector, but at some point, I had probably close to like I don't know, 1,300 games, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
I'm down to about 700 or 800, something like that.
Wow. Okay.
I don't even have an inventory of what I have anymore. But
This is about
uh,
350.
yeah, but I have a buddy of mine. He's in his mid 70s now, and he's in okay health. He's starting to have some issues. Doesn't go to conventions anymore and stuff. But long
Sad.
story short, reason I bring it up, I was talking to him it's been a couple, about 2 weeks ago. We were just talking, and of course, he's like, "Oh, Mark, I wish you weren't sick." Blah blah blah. Blah. But we were just, talking
Uh,
about games and this and that. And he's like, his name's Dave Western. By the way, my friend that passed away, Alan Hayes.
there you go.
But Dave, I kid you not, has he estimates that he has close to 7,000 games. He's been
Wow.
playing since, but let me give you, I love Dave. I've known him
Right.
for going on, 35 years now. But
Mhm.
I got to tell you, he still plays. And he's always been the kind of guy, but he literally has never sold one game. He's been playing since, 1960 or whatever, right? Whatever, like literally, like, and needless to say, he doesn't actually buy games anymore. He buys maybe one or two. Right? I mean, with that, but you say, "Oh my god!" But also, let me tell you something about Dave. He does not know what he's going to do. He's like, "I don't want to give him away to Noble Knight.
Hmm.
I don't really want to do this. I could
Hmm.
leave him to my family, my
What are they
kids,
gonna do with it?
you know." But the thing with Dave too, he always was the guy. He was the guy that he never punched a game. He would photocopy
Uh,
the counters and make a new set of counters. So you're talking
hmm.
7,000. I told him, I said, have you thought about just donating it to a museum somewhere?
Hmm.
So I don't know
I
what
think
he's gonna do, but he's,
yeah. I think
you know,
Marco Arnaudo, remember him? Oh, I don't remember him, but
the name. I mean,
yeah,
yeah, I would say the name.
he's a big blogger, a vlogger on YouTube, and he does Marco Omnigamer is what they call him.
Okay.
Marco Arnaudo is actually a professor at Indiana University, and he ended up with about a collection of 5,000 games. And he said he recently donated all of them to the library, to the Lilly Library at Indiana University. Ken X is asking, what is my connection to Indiana University? And I think I should answer that question because it's been there for a while. I'm not formally connected with Indiana University, just to let you know. Rob, as Mark said earlier, my job is to help students, Philippine students and students in general, just who want to enroll at American universities, do that. So Indiana University was a university I visited last summer. Indiana, Notre Dame, and Purdue. And right after my visit, I went to WBC. So I know this is where Grant went to school. Grant Kleinhensel, the player's aide. So shout out to to Grant. And finally, I have a hoping, crossing my fingers, I have a kid, a student who's trying to get a full scholarship in Indiana, and he's kind of like in the final stage. He has to be interviewed in February, and I'm hoping, crossing all my fingers, that he gets in. But I'm trying to. Okay, so that's my connection with Indiana. I'm
Okay. No,
yeah,
that's cool.
Ken, holding the line 50 games.
I know
God
that's why
bless you.
I typed in. I said, "Ken, you the man."
Yeah, if you can do that, I mean, if you can do that, you are a much better man than I am. You are a
Well,
much better man than I am because
I
this is
like
out of
to.
control.
Yeah, I used to play, and I have the newest edition too, but I used to play a lot of World in Flames, and the group that I
Mm,
played with, that's the only game they play. Like they have one
yeah,
game and they play it
right.
over and over. And I, on one hand, I kind of respect that, but it's not for me. Like I'm the guy. I buy games for so many different reasons. So I'm going to
Hmm.
ask you that in a second. Let me just say this. I literally have bought games just to look at them and go, ooh,
Yeah,
ooh, I like that. And
yeah.
I'm an addict. I mean, I am. Like I said
No.
earlier, I'm just fanatical. But yeah, what drives you to buy games? I've seen that,
Uh,
like somebody asked in Facebook when, like, do you ever buy games just to look at them? Yeah, I do. I'm guilty of that. I do
um,
that.
I
But
I normally buy games that are um, topic wise are interesting to me. Um, I don't have a lot of games on like Napoleonics. I mean, I'll have like I'm looking at them right now. I have like one, two, three, four, five or six games just on the, and I'm not really that into it. Um, but I have obviously a lot of World War II games. I'll have a lot of World War One games. I have a lot. But if the topic is interesting to me, I will get it. I need to be more disciplined with that. I need to be like, okay. If you don't see yourself playing it, don't get it. You know.
do you tend to let me, I don't want to word this. So like you say you don't have a lot of them. Are you the type of gamer, do you read a book and then get a game, or do you get a game and then say, "Ooh, I want to like look more into the historical
I
part of
I
it."
I I get. I don't know.
You know
I
what I
don't think
mean?
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. I don't think I've ever done that in either direction.
Oh, okay. All right,
I've
fair
never done
enough.
that. That said, I do read a lot of military history, obviously, as we all do. I
Yeah.
have a particular bent towards a American Civil War, and I even remember I attended like a Civil War Institute at Gettysburg College one summer, and I was the only one from the Philippines there. I think I'm the only one who was not an American there, and so I had my little name tag which declared I was from the Philippines. And
Yeah.
the most common is like, how does a guy from the Philippines develop an interest in the American Civil War? So that was the most
Why not? But
asked
yeah.
question when I was there. So I would tell them my
Well,
Civil War story.
I would answer that. How does a guy from America say get involved in, well, what's the history of the English Civil War or World
Mm,
War One? I mean, and granted, we were in World War One, but
hmm.
before American entry, right? So
Right.
I wanted to make it. Oh wait, that's the wrong one. Where
Oh,
is it?
Ken, don't do
No,
that.
no.
Don't buy
Here's
100
the.
games in two
Yeah, he's
years.
gonna. No, no,
Yeah.
do it. See, I'm the guy you don't go to and ask, "Is this a good game?" Because I'll be
Yeah, I
like,
know. Yeah, it's
I,
terrific.
I've literally have found one game, one,
Hmm.
and I'll just tell you what game it is. Avalanche Press Third Reich. John
Hmm.
Prada has nothing to
Oh,
do
okay.
with, and it doesn't mean it. The first edition, like I'll never forget it. Read the rules. Oh, this looks great. At the time, my son played it, and I called up Rob's comment because I want to say something about that.
Hmm.
But I'll just tell you this, and because my sons, they don't, neither one of them play war games. They play
Sure.
Warhammer now, and they play some other stuff, which is fine. But when they were younger, my oldest used to play war games with me, and I remember Avalanche Press. So oh, this looks like a simple game. So I read the rule. Oh, it looks great. Set it
Mm-hmm.
up, clip the counters. We sat down on a Saturday afternoon to play it, and I'll just say this: put the game, what I call, in motion.
Mm-hmm.
I started to play it, and it immediately was like 10 million rules questions.
Right.
I'll never forget. I boxed it up, and this was sometime in the early 90s. And I
Mm-hmm.
don't remember, I must have listed it for sale somewhere or saved it
Mm-hmm.
for a game convention. But it's really the only game in my life that that I have that, and even now, I guess they did a third edition and it's playable. But because I always say, enjoy your journey, because like your garbage might be my treasure, right?
Mm.
Or vice versa. But anyways, I guess I'm talking in circles. But so I wanted to say, Rob, it's not just your Tourette's; it's just OCD. Because what I tend to
Mm-hmm.
do is, especially a series games. Oh my God! If I get it up my butt I'm going to play a series, I all of a sudden want to own every game in the series. Like,
Yeah, that's with me in
you know,
coin. That's with
so
me in the coin games, with GMT coin games.
right,
So I have all of them except for All Bridges Burning, because I'm just not into All Bridges Burning. But yeah, so I'm not a completist. I thought I was going to be a completist for coin, but apparently I'm not. But
right.
yeah, so things like that. But I really want to, you know, now I'm really just becoming more trying to become more disciplined, and not complete a series just to complete a series. I mean, if there's nothing I'm interested in, it's not happening.
See, that's my problem. I'm literally the guy that's I'm like, you remember that old ad? I forgot what cereal it was for. It was like, give it to Mikey, he'll eat anything.
This was before my
That
time.
that that well,
I didn't
okay.
come to America until
I
'83, so
well, I forgot what ad it was, right?
right.
But there was this
Mikey
ad, and
likes
there's
it.
this little Mikey likes it, right?
Yeah.
So that's me with war games. I literally will find something I like about every war game. Like I noticed, like Kent
Okay.
here, and he's right. Like as far as I'm concerned, everybody needs to own a copy of Axis Empires Ultimate Edition. I've been in love with that game, Krieg, since 1993 when that uh, game came out. But Ken makes the comment here. He says he's got a slot because is this the right one? He's basically getting rid of a World at War, right? Even though
Hmm.
he's played it. He's, oh, I got a slot. See, for me, it's like, no, I've got World at War. I've got World in
Mm.
Flames. I've got Axis Empires now Ultimate Edition, which, by the way, I've been doing videos. I'm on my I've already played it like 60 hours worth of play. So,
Mm.
um, but yeah, I'm just terrible. Like I have no governors. I'm literally like, and now my governor is like, I'm only allowing myself to buy one game for about every 10 that I sell. And that's just because I don't want to leave my family. Whether it's
Right.
next year or 20 years from now, I don't know. I'm terminal, but they don't know what that means. But
Aren't we all terminal?
well, we are. No, that's right. That's
Aren't
right.
we all terminal then?
That's right. It's what I tell my brother. Maybe this is the gallows humor a little bit, but the difference is like for me, it's just a little more like I don't know when or if, and I could drop dead
Sure.
2 minutes from now, right?
Yeah.
But
Well, don't do
uh,
that.
no, I don't. Yeah, I don't want to either. I want to
Don't
get
do
to the
that.
video,
I
right?
don't know how to sign
But,
out
but
of
I
these
guess I
things.
guess my point is when I think in
Yeah.
terms
Yeah.
of planning, it's literally
Right.
like even thinking about Consum Expo in July. I'm
Yeah.
more concerned about I'm playing Austerlitz next weekend.
Right.
Whereas I
And
don't
more
really
living in the
talk
moment. Yeah.
anymore. I don't really talk anymore about, well, next year or the year,
Yeah.
I'll do. you know. But anyways, so I don't want this to be about that, but what I'm saying is, it's like the amazing part of gaming is, to me, is like, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with even though I will admit it drives me a little buggy when I see people with like, oh, I got 23 copies of War in the Pacific. You know what? If that's your journey and you
Yeah,
love it, then do it.
right,
Who am I to judge? I mean,
right.
as a guy that maybe wants a copy of a game where and you can't get it because, but yeah, and the internet. So let me, 'cause this show's about you. Let me ask this. So so it sounds like you're not a collector. You have focus. What? And
Mm,
I just spoke about Axis Empires. What is literally, and thank God in real life we don't have to make this choice.
right.
But I'm going to ask you, give us your top. What's your top three, five? I don't want to go too deep
Oh
because
God, I hate this
but
question because it's
what's your number? Do you have
no,
a favorite?
no. I have a favorite game. All right.
Yeah, that you
Okay.
just
I don't
love
know if
to
I have.
play.
I honestly don't know if I have a favorite. As I said before, I do play Combat Commander regularly because I'm in this ladder, this league kind of thing. So I played a lot. Is it my favorite? I don't know. I like it a lot. I like Empire of the Sun a lot, certainly. And there are many games in my collection that I would like. Boy, I'd really like to play that game more, or boy, I'd like to get into this more. And but it's just so many. I don't know if I have a favorite, honestly. Except maybe there was I know Twilight struggled really well. I can play that very well. Obviously Combat Commander I know backwards and forwards, and I play that a lot. Does that make it my favorite? I don't know. Maybe it
Yeah.
does. I don't know.
Does
Empire of the Sun,
Dave
does that make it?
does
I don't know.
Dave Lampner play on that ladder?
Does
You
who?
okay, well, you don't recognize the name. So David Lampner, he lives in Stockton. He runs combat. That's like literally his game.
It could
At
be
GMT weekends, he runs that. Like he
he
runs
could very
down
well be
trains
because
in
but then
combat.
sometimes there's like people go by pseudonyms, and so I don't know. What is this last? Is it Lamp? LAMP?
It's Lampner. I'm probably butchering it, honestly, how to pronounce it. I'm
Oh,
pretty bad.
Lamphere.
Lamphere, yeah.
LAMPHE. That sounds familiar.
Yeah, I let's put it this way. I know him because he comes to our Lodi monthly meetups. He literally
Hmm.
lives like 20 minutes from me, and he's
Yeah.
retiring. So we're gonna probably start getting together. He's the reason I even kept Combat Commander and play it because
Yeah.
I Combat
Well, Rob
Commander
Rob
for
remembers
me,
him, David Lamphere. Yeah.
yeah, Combat Commander for me was a game that when I first like Chad play tested it at Pacificon for
Right.
years, and I
Hmm.
ran the war games, and in fact, the reason he named a counter in the Med
Yes, he
expansion
did.
after me
Yeah.
was because one year I had Roger McGowan was our guest, and I never forget it, And Chad came to me. He's like, "Hey, can you introduce me to, I want to pitch my game." Oh, absolutely. And
Hmm.
as they say, the rest is history, right?
Right.
And
Hmm.
I didn't have anything to do with his game getting produced except for that
Yeah.
little, but but I remember when Chad, it was funny. I remember he's like, "Hey, I put you in my Mediterranean expansion because you
Right.
introduced me to Roger
Right.
McGowan."
The funny
But
thing is that for all my games of Combat Commander, I have yet to play with your leader, with the guy whose name Sergeant Ruggiero. I have not
yeah,
yet played with
the
that.
Italian army. No,
The Italian,
I don't
he's an
even think
Italian.
I've ever played with him yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, Combat Commander for me, I definitely like it. I'm keeping it now, and I've got all the
Yeah.
expansions and blah blah blah. But
Mhm.
when I first played it, I remember I was like, man, I don't know if I like this game at all because it was,
Yeah, I don't blame you. A lot of people just get, a bit turned off by it.
well, it was like I want to
Um,
move, and I got no move cards,
exactly. And some people
and
are going like, why can't I fire?
right,
That
right.
sort of thing.
But
But it's really,
you learn how
yeah.
to
But
turn.
eventually, I played it more and more, and then I was like, damn, this is fun. And it's hard because sometimes, well, like for instance, like Mo and Gary Mangle are two people who are notoriously don't like Combat Commander. And I just keep telling them, yeah, I can understand where you're coming from, but at the same time,
Uh,
you play it more often, you'll get it. But to play it more often, it means you have to like it to some extent. And if you really don't like it, then you won't play it often.
Well, see,
obviously.
I'm the Mikey that likes it so much. I was like
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
determined, and I know early. What's funny is earlier a game I've never played. Well, I take that back. I've played it once, and I have a buddy of mine, Dan Jario, that loves it. Is fighting formations,
Oh yeah,
and
fighting formation is a good
so I
one.
still have it on my shelf. You can't
Hmm.
see it. I'm Italian, so I'm like pointing at shit, and
Yeah,
but
using your hands.
right, but um. But I gotta say, like, I got on pre-order the one that Kai's been
29th
working
division,
on.
29th ID.
Yeah,
Yeah. Hmm.
yeah. Just because I do. And Chad's games were genius,
Yeah. I am
you
technically
know.
I'm supposed to be a playtester for 29th ID, but I've only played it once. I'm terrible. I'm the worst playtester in the world because I've only played it once so far, and the guy who I was playing with was taking all the notes. So I'm
Yeah, I know
terrible.
so I'm curious here. Rob says when Chad introduced armor to the game, it kind of
To
wasn't the
Combat
same.
Commander, really?
I don't know. I'm gonna ask which game, Rob. Put it in the comments which game you're talking about so we know. Is it
If he's talking about Combat
Because there
Commander,
is no tanks in
there
combat.
are no tanks except for there were a couple of
Water tank.
scenarios.
Oh,
There were a couple of scenarios in Fall of the West that have tanks. And
oh,
ironically, it's the French who have the tanks.
okay.
Yeah, so there are a
I didn't,
couple of it. Yeah, they added to the France mod.
oh,
Yeah,
okay, all
because it
right.
kind of like the tanks there are a little bit like it's kind of make do with the counters that we have. So it'd be like a
Oh,
combination of a machine
yeah,
gun counter and a pillbox counter and this that, and the other thing.
right, right.
So I played with it. It's okay. I mean, I understand it's a little clunky. Yeah, it's not really, but people wanted to have a tank. So
So I
yeah,
thought that.
yeah,
See, I
that's
actually wasn't
exactly.
aware.
Rob
I
is right.
wasn't
Rob is
aware
right.
of that. I've seen
Yeah.
the inside joke where there's a scenario, probably more than one, but where there's a scenario where there's a water tank, a tower,
Mm-hmm.
you know, on one of
Okay.
the maps, and I don't know if you've ever seen that. I've seen that probably on Facebook and so. Oh, look, there's tanks in Combat Commander, and it was a picture of the,
Okay. I think
you know.
maybe it's in the. I remember in Stalingrad scenario there were several round buildings. Maybe they were thinking
Yeah,
about
it
that.
could have been that. I don't
It could have been
remember,
that.
but
Yeah.
it was one of those. Yeah, but
Yeah.
so
In
see,
one
I
of the
told you.
modules, you had a workaround for tanks. Yes, yes. I absolutely know what you're talking about, Rob.
Right.
Yeah.
What's
Absolutely.
the? We just got a few minutes left here, so I think we're in about an hour, right?
Mm-hmm.
But um, so what's your oh my goodness. Oh, so you're talking about play testing. So like
Mm-hmm.
my only claim to
Yeah.
flame,
Yeah.
claim is two games.
Mm-hmm.
One is I play tested Decision Storm of Steel, which I'm a huge
Right.
fan of, which by
Uh-huh.
the way, and sadly he hasn't passed away, but something happened. I lost touch with him and people may not remember him, but Bob Medro, I worked with him a lot on that expansion. And Bob Medro, if you go back
Vlad
and
is
look
ASL
through,
guy, definitely.
and he was an original play tester for like squad leader. Like if you
Mm-hmm.
go look, he was in his 80s. He was taught engineering at uh, there's a university near Roland, Missouri. So I'm assuming it's like
Oh,
Missouri
Missouri
State.
S&T. Missouri S&T.
Yeah, he was taught
You're asking the
engineering.
university guy.
I know,
If I don't know the answer to that,
but
I
but I
shouldn't be
get
doing what I'm doing.
until about a year ago, I would talk to him once a month, and sadly, his number's been disconnected. And I've Googled and I found his wife's obituary. She passed away a few years ago. I mean, he's in his 80s, so who knows, what happened. But anyways, only reason I bring him up because it's funny but anyway, so I did Storm of Steel. I did the expansion with him. I think it's a great game, very underrated. Came out about the same time a lot of other World War One games, and it's Decision. So a lot of people are like, "Oh, Decision games," but and then my other claim to fame, I guess, is Sound of Drums games coming out with the ILAO game,
Yeah, I heard about that.
and I felt like I want to get Uwe on the show, but I felt like, I mean, I did some work with him. I didn't edit, nothing. I just was giving him feedback and this and that. And of course, he dedicated the game to me. There's a very nice dedication he wrote, which really
Mhm.
was very moving. I did a unboxing on my channel for it, uh, but
Oh,
that, but I think that's about it. So what do we get? Question for John. Oh
Ken,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
Ken. Oh
Let's.
yeah, with running
Yeah.
gag with Mo on RD streams, where you call him by some other name. What's that all about? No, 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 no. This running gag I have with Mo is that whenever I see him, I type in all caps. I go Mo, double exclam, and then he comes back to me, goes Ken, double exclam. The reason that came about was is that there was a time when I said people when he comes in, the people should all go Mo, just like in Cheers when they all go Norm whenever Norm comes in,
Yeah,
and everybody
yeah. I
goes
love that
Norm.
show.
So I said when he comes in, everybody should go Mo, and that's for some reason I'm the only one doing it. And the Ken
That's
thing is like
funny.
Mo Ken. He would call me Ken because it was a time when Mark Herman thought I was Ken T because we were both Filipino, right? Because
Oh, okay. You guys
Mark
don't
doesn't.
look
Mark
anything
didn't.
alike,
Yeah,
but
yeah. I know we don't look anything like
I
Mark.
mean,
Mark
yeah,
Herman. I guess he doesn't know many Filipinos, and that's fine. He doesn't know me from
yeah,
Adam.
yeah.
I've only met him once before we met again, and he said hi, Ken, and I'm like, I'm not Ken, I'm John, and it's like, oh, I'm sorry. Like he was very apologetic, but that was something, and I told that story to Mo, and ever since then he started calling me Ken, and I said Mo, Ken. That's the reason why. Um,
Right.
yeah, so
That's
that's the
funny.
inside joke, Ken. It wasn't quite.
What?
So that's why.
No. So let's do this. What I like to do. We're at an hour. Trust me, I'm the
Hmm.
guy that never wants stuff to end.
Hmm.
Okay,
Yep.
but
You're welcome,
what's
Ken.
yeah. Let me. So you get kind of like
Next time.
the
Take care,
almost
Rob.
last.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Rob. What's your so what you got like a you want to anything you want to add or say before we close it up for
Well, a
tonight?
lot of people ask me, and I don't know, maybe I've talked about this before, and if I have, I'm sorry. But a lot of people ask me, said, how do I get games here to the Philippines, or do I pay a ton for shipping? A lot of people ask me that question.
Shipping forwarder.
Yeah, what I do is I use what is called a freight forwarder. What happens is that
Okay.
I have it sent to this address in Oregon. It's not Oregon now, but it used to
Well,
be in
I've sold to
California.
you, but sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
So it's in Oregon, and so as far as you're concerned, if I'm buying a game from somebody on Consum World or Consum Marketplace, and they say, "Oh, U.S. addresses only," I'm like, "Yeah, that's fine with me," because as far as you're concerned, you're sending it to an address in Oregon, And so I send all my games there. They consolidate all of it, okay, and then they pack it in a single box and they ship me that box. The box is not is I pay for volume, not for weight. Okay, so I'm paying for the box, not the weight of the box. So if
So okay.
yeah, so there's a single box, and then depending on how big the box is,
Mm.
then that's how much a bigger box
It,
are obviously costs more. So what I
right,
would do is I would just cram as many games as I can into a single box that costs maybe $30 or $40 to ship over here,
right.
and that's what I paid to ship what 6, 7, 8 games sometimes, and I pay 30, $40 for that total.
Nice.
So that's the way that works. So shipping is not an issue for me, but the catch is I have to wait a long time because it's about 10 weeks to get here. So it's a long waiting period. But if you're a patient person, and it's not like I don't have enough games to keep me entertained for while waiting, I have enough time. I'll wait. That's not a problem. So that's how I get my games. So I send it to a freight forwarder,
That's
and they send it to me.
awesome. No,
Yeah. So
no,
so
that's
I
great.
and it's pretty cool because it appears on my doorstep, and directly from, and I don't pay any taxes or anything like that. Yeah. Yeah, usually Amazon free shipping in Hong Kong. We have that too here in the Philippines, but unfortunately the war game selection in Amazon very limited, right? So
Yeah,
as
and
Ken
some
would
of
probably
it's
tell you.
and some of it's what I've seen. Some of it's fairly priced, and I've seen some that are like, okay, sure.
Yeah, otherwise he pays a lot for shipping. Yeah,
But
absolutely.
what's funny, really quick, is I just want to say, so that's great advice for people. Appreciate you sharing that.
Mhm.
The only thing that I have that's even would be similar is, of course, we send bulk buy-in boxes
Like buying
to
boxes, yeah.
them through LBC, right? And they're
Right.
great.
Hmm.
Like we fill them up with all kinds of stuff and I don't know what they last time we shipped
Right.
them. I think they're like $90 now or something, but
Yeah.
and it takes a while to get there, but it's a
Yeah.
great value.
Some
It's not.
idea. That's very similar to what I do. Hmm.
Yeah.
Except I don't have
All
to
right.
bother anyone for a Balikbayan box.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
I want to say, John, hey, I really appreciate you stepping up to do this.
I'm
I
happy to be here.
uh we'll have to see who I get on for next month, but thank you
Oh,
for
okay.
being here. And once I get this uploaded to YouTube, feel free to share it around,
Thank
and
you. I
where
will.
so people can see it. And
Absolutely.
and
I'm an attention whore, so
yeah, yeah. I gotta say I like yeah. Obviously, well, it's like Mo says. Well, Mark, you wouldn't do it if you didn't enjoy it. I gotta say, like Mo at Mo's Game Table and Gary over at Ardwolf's
Aardwolf,
Lair,
yeah.
both really been encouraging, and
Yeah,
um,
absolutely.
they've done yeah, they've done a lot. They're fat. Well, they're going to be doing uh like they said, hopefully it's not for 20 years, but they're going to be doing like an online memorial and stuff that I'm working with them on. So but anyways, no, seriously, thank you. I was glad I
You're
was able
very
to do
welcome.
this
You know,
because
I'm happy to be here.
and if
Happy
you
to have
get
had a chance to talk to you.
you get one of your other guys there, somebody, the Ken in Hong Kong, you want to be a guest, PM me. I can tell you how we could do it.
I think he
I'm
left
working
already.
on trying to get Europe. I got a
Mm-hmm.
few people in Europe, which will be at a
Excellent.
really odd time too,
Well,
which is
yeah, it's an
it's
odd time
okay.
for us.
Look, for me, it's funny with not having a schedule outside of gaming and doctor visits and crap. I'm actually up usually between my local time, like midnight and 6 a.m. Like,
Oh gosh. All right.
which,
Yeah.
but well, I
Which
don't
is
have a
yeah.
schedule, so
That's
it's like
true.
when
That's true.
my body says sleep, I go
Sleep, sleep.
sleep,
Yeah.
and
I hear you.
when I'm awake, and I finally say, I'm not going to fight it anymore. I'm just going to make it. It's a 24-hour day. Just going to be as productive as I can. And so, anyway, thank you so much for
You're
joining,
welcome.
and
You're welcome.
I hope that everybody enjoyed the show. Ruggieros Corner, where the War Gamer, is the star, and if you on here watching, you want to be a guest, send me a private message. It's we get to talk about your journey, and yeah, people get to listen to my BS too. But
Right.
anyways, I want to
And
thank
it's free.
everybody.
It's
And,
free. What are you gonna do? It's free,
right,
and you get what you pay for. It's free.
that's right. All right.
Yeah.
So take care, John, and hey, maybe I'll see you. I don't really quick. You going to WB? I know you just
Not
did
this
a
year.
trip.
Not this
Okay.
year. It's my 30th anniversary, just like you have 37. I have 30, and
Okay.
so there's a trip to Europe in there somewhere. I have to plan.
Oh,
So I
well,
have to
that's
give
awesome.
her the time this time, and then maybe next year I'll go back to the States and back to my usual summer professional conventions, and that
And,
usually how I work out my game conventions.
you
Is that
never
I
know. You never know. I doubt it, but if somehow I end up in the Philippines this year, I'll definitely let you know. Because if nothing
Yeah,
else,
absolutely.
like, okay, we're staying in Manila for a couple days because my wife's from Samar, so that's
Right, right, right.
Calbag
Sure.
City. So
And there's a place for you. There's always room for you here in our house. You and
that'd
your
be
wife are
great.
always welcome. It was just saves you a night at the B&B. So
No,
we
thanks.
are very very pleased to have both you and LV come and join us.
No, that'd be wonderful. So,
That would
all
be
right.
amazing.
Well,
And
let's say bye to just wave to everybody. Bye, and we'll see you next time. Thanks a
take
lot. All
care.
right. Bye bye.